Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Makers Show. Now we're going to talk about young people today and how to engage with them effectively. I use stories of associations about engaging with young people, so focusing on that, but they can be just as applicable to any other employer, any other group. How do you engage effectively with young people today? We are all talking about the difference between baby boomers, kind of the older generation, the millennials, people born after 1980, and I was born in 1981, so I technically, born in 81, count as a millennial, and the Gen Z, which was born in 1995 and afterward. Now, there's not as many differences between millennials, baby boomers, and Gen Z as you might have typically heard about. The generational differences are not as strong. The strongest difference, according to the actual research on this topic, some cognitive neuroscientists obviously look at the research, is between people who are digital natives, who use technology very easily and effectively and grew up with it, as opposed to people who did not. And of course, some people of Gen Z and millennials didn't really grow up with technology. They didn't use it effectively, efficiently. They don't have social media, but most do. And many less older people use technology as digital natives. So that is a challenge. And as an example for associations, there was a report showing that in associations, around 47% of associations from 2019 saw no change in their renewal rate in the last year of the membership, but 24% reported that renewal rates declined. Many less, of course, had renewal rates that increased. And associations have more and more challenges with renewal rates, especially renewal rates for younger people. Now, what's the reason for this? What's the reason for the problem? Well, there are shifting mindsets within younger people, as I mentioned, being digital natives. And the challenge is that the leadership of associations, just as the leadership of employers, tends to be older, and they don't really understand a lot of the things that make younger people tick. Now, the challenge, the biggest problem, is that they use tried and true old style methods to try to engage with younger people to whom these methods don't reach. So, why do they use these tried and true methods and that don't reach young people effectively? Partially because of large reason is because of cognitive biases, which are dangerous judgment errors that cause us to make bad decisions. An example of this is the false consensus effect. That's one of the cognitive biases, the false consensus effect. It causes older people, whether in association leadership or in employers and corporations and nonprofits, to assume that younger people, younger employees they engage with, their customers and clients, younger association members, are just like themselves in a younger version of themselves. So they approach younger people as though they would approach a younger version of themselves. Unfortunately, that's actually not the case. Digital natives are not quite the same as older people when they come into the workforce, into associations. Another one is the overconfidence bias, which causes the association leaders, executives, and employers to be too confident about how much they know about what younger people want and how to approach them effectively. So the overconfidence bias is another cognitive bias that leads people astray. So, for instance, what's happening with associations? Many of them use conferences, in-person meetings, chapter meetings to try to engage their members. That's their main way of engaging members. And of course, in corporations and nonprofits, other organizations, you have a lot of staff meetings as a way of engaging with people, interacting. Doesn't work so well for digital natives. These are people who grew up with technology. They're much more used to engaging virtually than older people are used to engaging virtually. And the younger people tend to be more introverted. They grew up with more use of technology. They grew up with less engagement through face-to-face, so they tend to be more introverted. They prefer less engagement face-to-face. They prefer more technological engagement, and they don't like conferences and staff meetings nearly as much as older people do. And so that's a big assumption, and the big problem in engagement between older people and younger people. Another one, this is with social media. So many associations don't have a LinkedIn group. They don't have a Facebook group. They don't really have good Twitter presence, social media presence, Facebook presence. They aren't even on Instagram. And of course, a lot of employers aren't either. And not a lot of nonprofits, a lot of corporations aren't on these platforms, or they're not using them very effectively at all. This is a huge problem because it's actually repelling. It's really problematic for younger people, for younger employers who want to be employed, who you would like to work for you, for younger employees, and for younger association members. This is a big problem because when they see that there's no LinkedIn group for the organization, for the association, when they see that there's no Facebook group, when they see that there's a poor presence, when you're posting the same thing to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to Instagram, and when you're posting once a week or once every couple of days, that's a big problem and a big no-no. You need to post different things on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. You need to post at least twice a day on average, and you need, of course, to have Instagram as well and be posting appropriate content, images. You need to have a LinkedIn group, you need to have a Facebook group, at least a LinkedIn group. And if you're doing professional stuff, and manage those effectively. So those are really important requirements to engage young people effectively for associations and for, as well as organizations of various sort. And you need to remember those are just two principles: more introverted, more people who are used to social media, digital engagement, and that's just two out of a number of things that are different between differences between younger people and older people. And that's something you need to remember. You as an individual tend to be overconfident. I tend to be overconfident about my engagement with others, and we all of us tend to have a false consensus effect about assumptions that we make about how people like to engage with us and what they think. So this is a big challenge that needs to be overcome by employers trying to engage with younger employees and by associations trying to engage with younger members. All right, this has been another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. There's a blog on this topic, of course, linked in the show notes, and I hope this episode has been helpful for you. I want to hear back from you. What did you get from this episode? How do you think you might benefit? How would you handle engaging with younger people better? Or if you're a younger person, how would you handle engaging with older people better, knowing a little bit more about them yourself now? So please tell me leave comments. Love to hear back from you. I want you to click like and follow if you like this episode. And of course, sign up for the broader Wise Decision Maker Guide. It's going to be in the show notes that delivers to your inbox twice a month a whole variety of resources on making the wisest decisions possible. You can also check out my book, Never Go There Gut, How Pioneering Leaders Make the Best Decisions and Avoid Business Disasters. And also check out the Wise Decision Maker course, which has 8 modules, 8 video-based modules, and audio-based modules and text-based modules to help you make the wisest decisions possible. All right. As always, my goal is to provide you with supreme value, and I hope that I've done that. I look forward to seeing you on the episode, my friends. Goodbye.